Well, let's speak now to Kamel Hawwash, who is the former chair of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign here in the UK. He joins us now live. Welcome to the programme. Great to have you on. We've been speaking so much about Israel's war on Gaza. Just your thoughts as we enter now the sixth day of Israel's and the US's war on Iran.
We've only been in this for 6 days. It seems a lot longer than that. But that is the fact. We are in the sixth day. I've heard words used to describe the situation in the Middle East as chaos. It seems that Donald Trump launched this attack on Iran, egged on by Israel, and it is now really difficult to know what his plan is. Initially, he didn't say it was to do with regime change. Now it is. He's claiming he doesn't want XYZ to be the leader. Almost every country in the region has now suffered from this war, and you can apportion the blame to this side or that side. People leaving, British people, for example, many live in the Emirates, are coming back to the UK or trying to escape. So it is absolute chaos, and it isn't clear where this is heading. And at the end of the day, it was really Netanyahu who egged the US to take this on. Trump fell for it, and I don't think even he knows how this is going to end, because this is certainly not Venezuela. No.
And that point about Donald Trump, you say, egging on Netanyahu to start this war, we know how it started. How does it end? Is it the way Israel wants it to end, or is it the way Donald Trump wants it to end?
Israel wants every country in the Middle East to be weakened. It doesn't want a threat from anyone, i.e. it doesn't want anyone to resist its occupation, its continued attacks on Lebanon, on Syria, on the Palestinians. It is achieving that somewhat because it has been able to push into Syria, to push into Lebanon, and to weaken the groups in these areas. So where is it heading? I think it'd be a really brave person to predict exactly how it's going to finish, but there will be a lot of rethinking in each of the Middle Eastern countries as to who their ally is. Let's not forget that there are so many American bases in the Gulf states that have not been able to protect the Gulf states from the attack that was aimed at these bases. And these countries had, you would have thought that American base wouldn't allow a rocket to fall into its areas, but it has happened. And therefore, this is a signal that the Americans can't protect these countries if it came to it. But at the same time, they were promised that if they normalize with Israel, Israel would help protect them. And it's not being doing that either. So I think people will be rethinking these alliances, but it will take some time, because really before the end of 1 week of this, it's going to be very difficult to predict which way it's going. The only thing you can predict is that it is causing chaos in the Middle East.
Absolutely. And as you're speaking, there is a refinery in Bahrain on fire, so much happening in the Gulf right now. I want to bring it back to the UK. You know Parliament very well. Just your thoughts on how the UK has approached its intervention in this war.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, Keir Starmer has been under pressure about his policy decisions, wisdom before this, but this has added to it, because initially the way the UK presented its position was that it wasn't really sure that the hits by America and Israel were within international law. Let's remember, the United Nations has not been consulted at all. So he has claimed that what he wanted to do at that stage was to act within the realms of the law. But then after Iran began to, strike American bases, and there was a worry in the UK that British citizens in the region, British military personnel were threatened, he decided that he would be taking part in defensive actions. And if you strike a rocket launcher in Iran, is that defensive or is that offensive? He's also fallen foul of Donald Trump's description of him as not one of the greatest leaders of the UK, and he's really appearing to be weak in making these decisions. As you know, Trump said he's no Churchill. I mean, he compared him to Churchill and found him wanting. So I think the UK is in a difficult position. It may turn out to be serious for a minute, that he took the right course of action. The UK did not partake in breaking international law as it did in the Iraq situation, but at the same time, there is a duty on the British Prime Minister to protect British citizens. There are some 300,000 in the Gulf, particularly many in Dubai, and there are assets the UK has in that area as well. So it could turn out that he was right to do what he did. But at the moment, he's been accused of being weak by the opposition. And we know that Kemi Badenoch would have tackled this differently by joining Trump, but she would have been wrong to do that, in my view.
Kamel Hawwash, lots to discuss. Thank you very much. It was great to get your opinion. Thanks for your time here on the programme. Kamel Hawwash, thank you.
Thank you for having me.